In a Chicago suburb Friday, the Department of Homeland Security said more than 200 protesters blocked a gate at the ICE facility in Broadview. Another 30 people went to a different gate and were allegedly trying to illegally enter federal property. Federal agents used tear gas and pepper balls on the protesters amid ongoing clashes related to increased immigration enforcement, several news outlets reported. One federal agent was seen firing from a nearby rooftop. The confrontation comes just 2 days after a gunman shot and killed a detainee and injured two others at an ICE facility in Dallas. Just days after the vile terrorist attack on an ICE Dallas facility, over 200 rioters gathered outside the Broadview Processing Center in Illinois, and some began chanting, "Shoot ICE." These violent threats and smears about ICE must stop. There is no place in American politics for violence, Assistant Secretary Tricia McLaughlin said in a statement. According to the Associated Press, a few protesters tried to block a car heading toward the ICE building. Now, this prompted federal agents to fire tear gas and pepper bullets multiple times at a crowd of more than 100 protesters, hitting people who were standing back and allegedly not involved in blocking traffic. The Chicago Sun-Times reports one of its photographers was hit by rubber pellets. One protester, who's also an elected member of the Skokie Board of Education, said the chemical agents caught her and others off guard.
This truly caught us so incredibly off guard. We literally were just tying notes on the wall. And for a minute, I was obviously coughing. It was very hard to breathe. I was disoriented for a second. I just didn't understand what happened, fully unprovoked.
As agents fired, protesters either fled or fell to the ground. Most dispersed. Some rinsed tear gas from their eyes outside the facility, according to the AP. Broadview Mayor Katrina Thompson wrote a letter to Russell Hott, the ICE field office director, on Friday, calling for relief from ICE's, quote, siege of our neighborhood. In effect, you are making war on my community, she wrote, and it has to stop. The AP reports that in recent weeks, protesters have tried to stop agents' vehicles from entering or leaving an area next to the building. On Tuesday, that fence was put up, keeping protesters farther away from the facility. Thompson demanded the federal government take down the, quote, illegal fence.
Local 4 News starts now with a breaking news alert.
Hi, everybody. That breaking news continues from the Grand Blanc Township and now Burton areas just north of the Metro Detroit area. I'm going to step out of the way. I'm sure you've heard by now there was a mass shooting at the Church of the Latter-day Saints in Grand Blanc Township. 10 people were shot. One is dead. The shooter also shot and killed by police. What you're looking at right now is a map of where that church is, again, in the Grand Blanc Township area. There were people inside of the church when all of this happened. The suspect rammed his vehicle through the front doors of the church, got out, and then started shooting. You're now looking at video from the scene here. Again, 10 people were shot. One was shot and killed. 2 or 3 others are in critical condition. On top of the shooting, though, this suspect, a 40-year-old from Burton, also started a fire inside of the church. And unfortunately, we got an update from the Grand Blanc Township Police Chief. He said they are expecting to find more victims of the shooting and or of the fire once the investigators can get into areas of the church that they originally couldn't get into because that fire was ongoing. We did talk to the chief about what the next steps are, and that is getting a search warrant and getting into the victim's home. The suspect's home.
We have investigators. We're going to do search warrants on the suspect's residence. We're going to find out if there was a motive. We're going to go through cell phone records, things like that. We had FBI, they're devoting 100 agents to this area because, as you can imagine, there's a lot of witnesses that were within the church, and that is a lot of witness information, statements that we have to obtain.
All right, now back out here live, we are not actually at the church. We are near the suspect's home. Now, we have confirmed through sources that there were IEDs found inside of the suspect's vehicle. And now here outside of the home, as they get that search warrant and a way to go inside, the Michigan State Police bomb squad has shown up. In fact, photographer Marty is behind the lens here. If we can zoom into the back of that truck, you can see a robot is now being offloaded. That'll be one of the tools that they will use to go inside of the suspect's home to see what's happening there. It is a very safe assumption that if explosives were found inside of the suspect's vehicle, then they could likely find the similar situation inside of the suspect's home. That's why you see the bomb squad out here. That's why you see that robot getting ready to go inside of the home. And as we pan our camera a little bit towards the right, you also see a SWAT vehicle, and they've attached a battering ram on the front of that vehicle. They'll likely use that to push open the door or a window or some other front entry point so they can gain access to the home and then send that robot inside. There is a lot happening, not only in the Grand Lake Township area, Burton, but all throughout this area as well. This is on Atherton Street, which is in Burton. You can see that the Michigan State Police have shut this road down completely. It will be shut down like this for hours yet to come as they kind of meticulously and very, very slowly start to go through that suspect's home. But again, he is a 40-year-old that lives here in the city of Burton who used his vehicle to crash and drive through the front doors of the Church of the Latter-day Saints in Grand Lake Township, which is right next door. It is a community right next here to Burton. Inside that church, during the shooting, 10 people were shot. One is dead, 2 are critically injured. The others, the police chief here said that they are in stable condition. Of note, when the 911 calls started coming in, we were told that 2 officers got there very quickly. One of them was a Grand Lake Township deputy. The other one was a Michigan DNR officer. Both were armed and both what they call engaged the suspect, shooting and killing that suspect. So you've got a lot happening here. And again, the Michigan State Police getting ready to make entry into that suspect's home. We are going to give you an update every hour from here on out. So this is at 2:30. We'll do it again at 3:30 and at 4:30. There's supposed to be a 5 o'clock press conference. So 5 p.m. you'll likely see us back inside of the Grand Blanc Township Police Department for more updates from not only the police chief, but the township supervisor and likely the FBI and the Genesee County Sheriff as well. Stay with us here on Local 4 for all the updates into the afternoon. In fact, we're going to pan our camera all the way to the left here, Marty. There is another bomb squad vehicle arriving here on scene. So you're going to see the Michigan State Police cruisers separate themselves and try to get this vehicle in as well. As you can see, a very, very active scene. It continues to unfold minute by minute. Stay with us for updates throughout the afternoon. We'll see you again here in about an hour to give you the very latest on what's happening here in Grand Lake Township and in Burton.
Developing news out west. President Trump saying he is ordering military troops into Portland, Oregon, as he puts a war-ravaged city needs to be addressed. Let's get down to the newsroom where our Meredith Gorman has more on who the president is calling domestic terrorists. Meredith.
Arthur, President Trump said Saturday he will send troops to Portland, Oregon, a city he described as war-ravaged, to protect immigration and customs enforcement facilities he claimed are under siege by Antifa and other domestic terrorists. President Trump took to Truth Social earlier and wrote, quote, "At the request of Secretary of Homeland Security Kristi Noem, I am directing Secretary of War Pete Hegseth to provide all necessary troops to protect war-ravaged Portland and any of our ICE facilities under siege from attack by Antifa and other domestic terrorists. I am also authorizing full force if necessary. Thank you for your attention to this matter." This move comes after scenes like this and other demonstrations where protesters went to an ICE facility in Portland on September 1st, and federal agents diffused them with chemical sprays and pepper balls. The tense situation lasted for more than 12 hours, and protests have heated up in Portland. Trump had threatened to previously send troops to Portland recently before making this big announcement. Now, just a short time ago, Oregon Governor Tina Kotek addressed this decision by Trump, making it clear that she strongly opposes any troops coming to Portland, saying that military service members should only be made available for what she says are real emergencies.
In my conversations directly with President Trump and Secretary Noem, I have been abundantly clear with them that Portland and the state of Oregon believe in the rule of law, and we can manage our own local public safety needs. There is no insurrection, there is no threat to national security, and there is no need for military troops in our major city.
President Trump has already deployed troops to Los Angeles, Washington, D.C., and Memphis. Arthur?
Wonder what's going to happen with New York. All right, thanks very much, Meredith.
All praises, honor, and glory to our power, Yahweh. Bahasham Yahushua, Bahasham Rachakulash. The honors, the apostles, the bishops, and the elders, great millstone. Peace and blessings to the hopeful elect of the tabernacles of David. Scattered throughout the four corners of the earth, and wherever you may be, to you I say, Shalom, Shalom, Shalom. There's going to be another brief little world news with commentary. There's actually several things that happened between now and over the weekend, and it really just slowly but surely, as always say, there's the big cogwheels, there's the little cogwheels, okay, and there's the medium cogwheels. All right, and those little cogwheels are very important because they connect one cogwheel to another. Okay, and what I'm referring to is the pushing forth of prophecy. All right, because certain things have to happen. Even what the Lord told us about in Matthew 24, Luke 21. You shall hear wars, rumors of wars, earthquakes, pestilences, famines in diverse places. And all these things are the beginning of sorrows. Okay, and Ezra goes in it more heavier than any other prophet in the book about the times of Jacob's trouble. Okay, but many, including the Lord himself, prophesied about the troublesome times to come. And so, you have the mass Pum Pum, at this Latter-day Saints church, and also was a fire set. And as I keep saying, these Jack in the Box shooters, man. Okay, they haven't slowed down yet. Okay, you had what was it? The bridges. You had the bridge situations, bridges everywhere, right? I think before that, before that you had trains everywhere. Okay, chemical spills happening from trains and stuff like that. Now you got this mass Jack in the Box shooter type deal going on. Okay, so Esau's behind these things, man, because trains ain't just falling off the tracks all over the states randomly. Okay, bridges ain't just falling all over randomly. Okay, Jack in the Box shooters ain't happen all over randomly. I mean, they do happen, but when they happen on this level, you gotta know Esau's behind it. So that just gives more reason to want to surveil more, crack down more, try to set forth more harsher laws. Maybe anything could come from situations like that. Okay, because before, if you think about it, they were actually using the propeller hat people. Okay, now it seems like they're just doing whatever randomly that can fuel a fire or rile the people up and get them a result that the people actually be okay with. Oh my God, they did this and that at this place. Oh, it was at a church. It was the Latter-day Saints, and oh, it was at a daycare school or something like that. So it really stirs up because of Esau. I still got that I still got that thumbnail. Okay, on my Green Goblin thumbnail. First, we attack the heart, right? Because that's what they do best, man. They play around with people's emotions, man. All right, that's how Green Goblin always broke Spider-Man. Okay, he would go after his heart, which is his mind, by doing what? By going after his loved ones. See, that's how they rile up the public people. They do things that are seen as, oh, it's just so heinous. Who would do this? These were just babies. These were children. Oh, this was a church. And they just stir up people's minds, play with their emotions. Okay. You have also the migrant situation about those people trying to break through and would get into this facility and so on and so forth. So that was another situation that happened. But this one here I want to pull up because this is also a big major random, because what you see is troops being amassed all over the country, little bit by little bit, and he's hiding behind the guise of crime and illegals. Okay, but crime is the overall button to push, because when he uses crime, he can attack both Northern Kingdom Israelites and Southern Kingdom Israelites. Okay, so because everybody knows the history of the Southern Kingdom, but that's strategically done. Then, like I say, I always say, with the Northern Kingdom, it was easy to point the finger at them. Oh, they're illegal. They're not supposed to be here. We could deport them. It was easy. And then you throw on top of the fact that gang members are actually over here. Because not everybody's a gang member, but they act like everyone is. Because they always talk about gang members. We're picking up gang members. But then when you turn around and look at the news, half the time it's not even gang members or people with criminal offenses. It's just regular people, children even. See? And so it was easy to point the finger at them. Oh, they're illegal. And then they stack on top of the criminals, which gives them to that crime threshold. When it comes to the Southern Kingdom, everybody knows the history of the Southern Kingdom. Well, they don't know that they're Israelites, but I'm just speaking in general. Okay, about them being slaves in America. And so you have Trump trying to wipe out all kinds of history of slavery in America, and just basically trying to do, as as the term is, move the goalpost. Okay, if they can make people forget, that's awesome to them, I'm saying. And all they got to do is cause some chaos. Everybody forget all about history if chaos is happening. If you're starving, your children, you can't eat or whatever. You can't work your job. You'll forget all about history because you're going to be thinking about survival. Okay? But, just going back on point with that, he's trying to wipe out the history of the Southern Kingdom, because the Southern Kingdom most definitely belong here, because you took us from across the waters and brought us over here. Okay? And so he has to use crime to attack the Southern Kingdom. And guess what? I mean, it's the truth, but they give him well enough ammunition, right? These 2/3. They give him way more than enough ammunition, okay? And I find it very interesting how he's not really, he's not hitting too hard at Chicago, but there's got to be something extra up with Chicago, whatever. But yeah, but the latest right here, as you see here, Trump invokes Title 10 to deploy troops into Portland. AG files lawsuit. Now I'm going to talk about, probably read some of this article, but I also want to jump out and grab that Title 10. As a matter of fact, let me do this, because I'll pull it up in the AI thing. Okay, and we'll see what pulls up for Title 10. I won't play that video for fear of my button stopping, but also we got news clips anyways, so I'm pretty sure it's the same thing. So let's just jump down here. Actually, it says updated 32 minutes ago. Portland, Oregon. All right, President Donald Trump on Saturday announced he will send troops to Portland. On Sunday, Oregon Attorney General Dan Rayfield and Governor Tina Kotek said in a news conference that Trump had invoked Title 10 to deploy troops into Portland. Trump said on social media Saturday that he was directing the Department of Defense to provide all necessary troops to protect war-ravaged Portland. Okay, and that's him being slick when he keeps talking about violent crimes and war-ravaged. Those are buzzwords. Because what's that thing called? Is it posse comitatus, where he can't use the troops unless there's like a situation like these uprisings, these riots. Well, there you go. That's why he's moving the troops, because all he's got to say, hey, this is an uprising, this is insurrection, or however he wants to call it. Okay, so they're really weaseling around the law in order to get the job done. Okay, so these words, these devils are slick. Trump said the decision was necessary to protect U.S. immigration and customs enforcement facilities. His announcement was met with pushback from Oregon's governor and leaders in Portland. Oregon conservatives praised the president's decision. Oregon Democratic Governor Tina Kotek responded to Trump's comments that he was authorizing full force, if necessary, to handle domestic terrorists. Look, see, everybody's an terrorist, okay, except for them. And I speak that about the Eastern Edomites as well as these Western ones. And you should know what I mean when I say Eastern Edomites. By saying he is abusing his authority. If you don't know, I'm talking about the propeller hats. And if you don't even know what I mean by that, then you're a little bit behind. His authority by ordering troops into a city that she said is doing just fine. And everybody keeps saying the same thing. Our city is this and that, is just fine. Or, well, it's not this, it's not that. Or, we don't need you. But, of course, what he says goes in a sense. more so the overall. Okay, but everybody's saying the same. Is that a man or a woman? I'm not even sure. I guess that's a woman. Yeah, Tina. I guess that's Tina. Okay. Other government, police, and businesses leaders said soldiers are not needed, and Trump is presenting a false picture of the city. I think that's the same thing they said in Chicago. There is no see. That's what we just mentioned. There is no insurrection. See, that goes back to what we just mentioned. That posse comitatus, man. Okay, you can't utilize the federal troops. Okay, like on a like a basic local level, unless there's an insurrection. So he's saying that war ravaged, just to say that this is insurrection, which justifies him bringing in the troops. See, that's the devil, man. See, they slick, man. There is no insurrection. There is no threat to national security, Cote told reporters. The governor said she tried to understand his reasoning during that conversation, and his response was just, let's keep talking. Let's keep talking. In other words, in his words, they're saying, we're going to do this anyways. Okay, so, this conversation is pointless. That's basically what he's saying there. But these people don't, unless they're behind it, along with the agenda, just playing a role. But I'm just going just by chance that these people they have no idea what's going on, because there's a bigger picture. But probably they have on some level know what's happening here. Let's see what it says down here. See something about ICE. They said a small crowd of protesters gathered on the sidewalk outside ICE facilities. Live updates followed to ICE people front. Here's the same thing again. 5 o'clock p.m. Kotek says there's no insurrection. There's no threat to national security. There's no need for legal justification for military troops in our major city. Military service members should be dedicated to real emergencies. The Portland Bureau says the mass protest march that started at the waterfront has concluded back at Waterfront Park. So we don't really need all that. So we pretty much got the gist of it. You have to read, you can read all that yourself if you like. But yeah, that's some of that happening right now. Ultimately they're about to bring the crackdown on really everybody, including their own people. But their main target, as their main goal has always been, going back to the womb, are you tribes, man, you Northern Kingdom and Southern Kingdom Israelites, right? Like the scripture says, they hunt our steps and we can't go on the streets. Let me pull that one up real quick. Here you go. All right. As for us, our eyes yet failed for our vain help. Lamentations 4:17. In our watching, we have watched for a nation that cannot save us. Yeah, Latinos from Trump, right? Negroes or blacks from Trump, or whatever. How Puerto Ricans for Trump. All these tribes for Trump, right? Israelites for Trump. That's basically, the straightforward. Israelites for Trump. Now look at what Trump is doing, man. Okay, because you didn't know he was the devil. And he had a bigger agenda from a bigger devil, or devils, I should say. Watching, we have watched for a nation that could not save us. Same thing it says in Isaiah. Okay, woe unto you that go down to Egypt for help. Okay, and he is the cruel lord of Egypt right now. They hunt our steps that we cannot go in our streets. and that's why so many things have been shortened up, especially with the Northern Kingdom, all right? A lot of things ain't getting done because those Northern Kingdom Israelites played a big major part in the economy, man. They hunt our steps that we cannot go in our streets. You have to pick them up from church. They're picking them up in cars. They're picking them up at the houses, picking them up, little kids up at school. You go to court, you get swooped up from court and wherever else, okay? They hunt our steps that we cannot go in our streets. Our end is near, our days are fulfilled, for our end is come. Our persecutors are swifter than the eagles of the heaven. They pursued us upon the mountains. They laid wait for us in the wilderness. And they got that going on right now with ICE, okay? Vanilla ICE. And I wanted to, I might actually be able to use this, because I don't need that, because I already got the title 10. So we'll go over here. I guess, I don't know, maybe I just would define Title 10. Title 10 of the United States Code outlines the legal framework for the United States Armed Forces encompassing their roles, missions, and organizational structure. This includes the Department of Defense and each of the military services. I want to get to really the nitty gritty if I can. Keep down on the reading. I mean, actually, there's not much here. Title 10 of the U.S. Code is a foundational legal document that governs the organization, training, and operations of the U.S. military, including its active duty components and, under specific circumstances, the National Guard. It delineates federal authority over military personnel and resources, particularly during federal activations. The code is divided into several subtitles, each addressing a distinct aspect of the armed services. Subtitle A covers general military law, including the Uniform Code of Military Justice. Subtitle B pertains to the Army. Subtitle C to the Navy and Marine Corps. Subtitle D to the Air Force and Space Force. Subtitle E to reserve components, and Subtitle F to the alternative military personnel systems. So they got it all coded out, huh? For National Guard members, activation under Title 10 signifies federal active duty military service directed by the President. In this capacity, Guard personnel participate in military operations and are entitled to the same pay, benefits, and legal protections as active military members. This type of activation can include overseas deployments, unlike Title 32 orders. Examples of Title 10 orders for reserve components include those for national emergencies. Yeah, like he's saying that these are insurrections, all these riots and stuff like that. These are uprisings. So this is a proof that we need troops in your city. We're going to save your city. We're going to lose Chicago. Or to augment active forces for operational mission support. All right, so the devil is preparing, more and more things for bigger and bigger crackdowns on the tribes. And ultimately, he's going to start coming down on all the citizens, because once they get to the point where they're ready to activate their digital system, everybody's going to feel the heat, okay? Because he's going to scoop up those that are with it, and those that are not are going to be put the pressure on, okay? So yeah, that's pretty much it for that one. Just wanted to briefly speak on that. I got one more thing here, which is coming up next. As a matter of fact, I'll wait. I was going to transition into it, but I'll wait. So yeah, we'll just pop back up. All right, so popping back up one more time for this here. And I got a question here. It says, how many Starbucks are closed or closing in the United States? I probably should have put 2025. Matter of fact, maybe I'll do that now. Just kind of solidify things to just this year. But yeah, this last clip here is about Starbucks workers complaining. It looks like, I can't really tell. I believe the first set of people actually walked out on the shift. It kind of looked like that's what it was. They gave a little speech and had the people in the store cheering with them, or I don't know. Then they just kind of walked out the door, so I'm guessing they walked off the job. But then the second chick, the Edomite looking chick, she was saying that they pretty much got a 2 days notice that their store was closing. Okay, see, they'll tell you, you want to leave our job, you got to give us a 2 weeks notice before you leave our job. But they shut down the store and gave them people a 2 days notice. Okay, so I have this question here, and you just saw we retyped, well, not really retyped it, but kind of reworded it with an extra. Anyways, you get the point. Starbucks is closing approximately 180 to 500 locations in North America as part of a restructuring plan under CEO Ryan Nicole. I guess this represents about 1% of its North American stores. Okay, which is really, I guess that's nothing, but it's a lot of stores though still. It goes to show you how many Starbucks are in this daggone country, man. The exact number of closures in the United States specifically is not fully confirmed by Starbucks, but unofficial lists and company statements provide estimates. As of September 25th, 2025, a public Google Sheet tracking likely closures had over 200 entries, with 188 in the United States, including 67 in California. I think that's what she was talking about in California. She was in California, if I'm correct. AL.com reported that 67 of the locations set for closure are in California and 4 are in Alabama, with all 4 Alabama locations listed as closing starting September 29th. I guess one was made it through. The company expects to end its fiscal year with approximately 18,300 locations in the U.S. and Canada, which is about 430 fewer than it had on June 29, 2025. Wow, that's a big leap in a short time. That's the doing of the Lord, though. These closures are part of a $1 billion restructuring plan aimed at improving financial performance and customer experience. Starbucks has indicated that the closures are occurring in locations where they are unable to create the physical environment of our customers and partners expect, or where we don't see a path to financial performance. All right, so yeah, that's the Starbucks rules, man. What does it say here? And let me have a book. I'll just use this one. Actually, I don't want to use that one I was reading. I can come back to that. Let's get this real quick. Let me just get 2 scriptures here. Remember now thy creator in the days of thy youth, while the evil days come not, nor the years draw nigh, when thou shalt say, I have no pleasure in them. And that's what we're telling the people now to repent, because it's just as sure as you live here in America, you are going to be affected by this economy as well, including us. All right, though we prophesy about these things, we're going to be affected as well. The difference is we're seeking after the Lord Yahweh Shemawashai. Okay, while the sun or the light or the moon or the stars be not darkened, or the clouds return after the rain, in the day when the keepers of the house shall tremble. All right, and you just best be sure that these economists, like, because there's a lot, especially Edomites, they're looking at the stocks and trades and Dow Jones and all these different things. Okay, and the only thing they see is a struggle. Okay, and some of them actually can foresee the collapse of this current society here in Babylon the Great, while the rest are just kind of blinded. And the strong men shall bow themselves, and the grinders cease. Okay, see all that work, right? The grinders cease, because they are few, and those that look out of the windows be darkened, and the doors shall be shut in the streets. And that's what's happening with this Starbucks situation here, as well as many other companies. But Starbucks, I just saw this clip, so I'm speaking on Starbucks. All right, the arrow is aimed at Starbucks for the moment. When the sound of the grinding is low, come on now, you coming to work and find out 2 days later your store is closing. That's terrible, man. And he shall rise up at the voice of the bird, and all the daughters of the music shall be brought low. Well, that's why it tells you the time for everything, man. Okay, let me get this real quick. For these days there were no hire for man, nor any hire for beast. Neither was there any peace to him that went out or came in, because of the affliction. For I said, all men, everyone against his labor. And that's what it's leading up to, man. Chaos. These people are going to lose their minds, because everybody's losing out. Not be able to survive here in Babylon the Great. Meanwhile, you got money for other countries. You got wars in other countries. You got this and this and that for everything else, everywhere else, and everybody else's business except for at home. Home is being dismantled from the inside out, but you are everywhere else. And the people are tired of it, and they're starting to see it. Okay, because the American dream has failed them. See? So, yeah, I'll just probably play that clip for you, and that'll be it. So, Lord, will you edify to this now?
End of this month, more than 40 workers here in Ithaca will be jobless. So please support us. As A32, we're walking out, and please join us as we do so.
What's disgusting?
Union busting!
What's disgusting?
Union busting!
What's disgusting?
Union busting!
Woo! This is my art account, but I'm still gonna post this on here because my other account is private. But I'm a Starbucks worker. I've been with this company for 3 years now. This job pays my rent, my utilities, my groceries. This is my full-time job. I don't go to school. I don't do anything else. This is the only job that I have. Today is maybe my last shift with the company because yesterday we all come into work and we're told that our store is closing tomorrow. So essentially we were given 2 days notice. Sunday we find out if we're getting separated or relocated to a different location. There are multiple problems with this, and the average person can't really see the bigger picture with this because you're not a Starbucks worker and you don't really know what that means. I live in Los Angeles and I know of at least 3 or 4 locations within a 2-mile radius that are closing.
Therein lies the problem. The first clip of this video was from a couple different years ago where basically a lot of Starbucks workers were trying to unionize, and then they were making a decision to no longer keep those stores open. Now we have a situation where Starbucks is laying off and they decided that California is going to take the brunt of those cuts, which we know that California is trash. However, the corporate environment is also considering the fact that the majority of those stores are not profitable, but they're also closing a lot of stores nationwide. But California, it seems, as I looked at the list, is catching the brunt of that.
You know I've always been a dreamer, and it's so hard to change, but the dreams that I've seen lately keep on turning out the same. Show